What's up, guys? We're back again for another video. Welcome to the channel. We got the engine to the house. We're gonna try to get it in tonight's video and a few other things. I'm not really sure where this video is gonna end up, but we're just gonna start recording and go with it. So like I said, we got the engine back to the house. Super excited there. We got the alternator bracket on, alternator belt on, got this repainted up. I don't know if you guys remember, but this thing was cracked. I did get it a little straighter. We've had issues in the past with it throwing belts off. It's definitely a lot straighter than it used to be, so I'm pretty hopeful that it should be much better. I'll probably put the valve cover on after I get the engine in, just in case the chain rubs or scratches on it or anything like that. So that's why we got the valve cover off still. I did get the intake manifold put on, everything cleaned up. Got the cylinder head port matched to the intake. Everything went really well doing that. Got the thermostat housing on now. Block off plate looking sick. I am running the Track Tough thermostat delete pipe. I just left the delete part off. I got it in a box somewhere on the shelf over there. And as well as the Track Tough oil filter adapter. So that's looking sick. I love the design of this. It's way less restrictive than my old 4-piston one. Let me grab it real quick and give you a quick comparison. So it's sitting right here. So this is the 4-piston one. And you can see how much more restrictive it is. And it doesn't have any extra like fittings that come out the side like this one does. It's really cool. This is a really trick little piece here. You even got another fitting over here. And this one you have to use a stub off of this. This just bolts right in, so it's super convenient for the H series guys to run this one that don't have anything previous. But yeah, that's looking really nice. Everyone's gonna ask what this is. Basically, this is replacing this guy right here that I did have. I did have the turbo feed right here, which I now moved up here. And then this went to my oil pressure gauge. So now this is just going to my oil pressure gauge, and I just adapted a -10 to this. Yes, I could have got rid of all of this and just done a solid -10 to like 1/8 inch NTP adapter with a 90. That would have worked fine. But I have been considering putting an AccuSump or an oil accumulator, whatever you want to call it, on the car. If you don't know what that is, check it out. It's pretty cool. It's basically a canister that stores oil and pressure while the engine's running, and it can give the engine oil pressure if it gets low, and you can also use an electronic switch. Hold the oil pressure, turn the engine off, and then use it to pre-oil the engine prior to starting it the next time. And that's what I am most interested in, is the pre-oiling factor of it. So I have this on here just in case I get a wild hair up my ass, and throw that on there later down the road. So just thinking ahead there, that's why that's there. That's the only reason. It's kind of complicated and bulky and looking like that. So I don't even know if there's room in the chassis. This might come out and immediately hit my firewall. So I got to look at that. But I think we should be good. Now that I'm thinking about it, that this is bulky, I'm hoping it doesn't hit the intermediate shaft. So that, like I said, something that I can change. Doesn't have to stay like that, but that's what we have for now. But yeah, got some stuff on here looking good. I got it home and I couldn't help myself. I just had to put a couple goodies on there. But I think we are going to grab a funnel over here, and we got some oil, some GP1 break-in 20W50 oil from Driven. We're going to be running Driven oil this time around. I believe I mentioned that in a video prior. But we're going to get this engine up on its side, and I'm actually going to throw some oil in straight into the oil galley here in a sec, and we're gonna try to get as much oil down into the mains as we can, just by gravity, just doing it slowly, just taking our time. I want to get as much oil in there to, you know, prevent any first startup wear as possible. Yes, there's assembly lube on everything, but this isn't going to hurt anything. If anything, this is just beneficial, and I'm extremely anal and OCD, so this is the way I'm choosing to do this. So I might set you guys up on a time lapse over here or over here, and then we're gonna try to get this lubed up, oil filter put on it, get this thing shoved in the car, and we might piece a couple things on tonight, but we're not gonna get too crazy with it. I still might go through the trans. I need to talk to the guys over at GATS and see if they have any updates on the trans they want me to throw together before we put it in. But everything's looking really good. I have removed power steering reservoir. In the past, I had my lines looped, and then I put a reservoir here, so it was just a nice little cleaner setup. But I went back to looping the lines to save weight, and then this post fuel filter was up here on the firewall. I just wanted to move it down here to clean things up and to lower the center of gravity of stuff, trying to get as much weight low as we can. So just for that reason mainly. May have to remake this fuel line and or this fuel line. If we do, that shouldn't be any big deal. I should have all the material here to do that. But that is just something else that we may have to do before this thing can start. Before it does start, I do need to get my injectors that I have out in the truck. I need to get them flowed so I can match them with my other injectors. We're going to be running 1700 cc's as our primary injectors and 2600s as our secondary injectors. Now that we got these big cams and we got something else, yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. So we just need as much fuel on tap as we can get, and that was the most cost-effective option to get us into I think a safe power range where, like, I don't need to go too crazy, but we'll have it if we need it. You know what I'm saying? So, right, we're gonna set the camera down, start working. Thanks for sticking around, and hopefully you all make it to the end of the video. And thank you so much for watching. Alright guys, we're about to get the flywheel bolts, well, we just got the flywheel bolts cleaned off. You want to make sure you clean off your flywheel bolts if you're reusing them. And we're going to put them on with blue thread locker, not red, blue. So you can get this stuff on and off. I've never had flywheel bolts back off on me, even on 121s. Make sure your threads are clean. Blue thread locker, and we are 100% ugga-dugging them on there. So, all right guys, we got the clutch on. Talk to transmission people. We're gonna run how it is. We're gonna change something in the shift selector. That's it. So we can do that with the trans inside the car. So we're working on getting it bolted up to the engine. And that's all we're gonna do for tonight. We're gonna get the trans bolted to the engine, hanging. Probably just these two mounts. I might mess with that last mount tomorrow or the next day or something like that. But we're gonna get this up in here. So we'll keep you along and updated on how we get that going on. Alright guys, we're back. It's been about a week or so, but we've made some more progress on the car. Getting this thing shoved in here was a little bit more challenging than I thought it was going to be. We've got the valve cover put on, throttle body's on now, a few lines on here. These aren't hooked up yet. We got the turbo manifold back on. Do want to shout out Dustin Smith over at Sinfab. He got this thing straightened out for me. Super fresh, thanks buddy. And Eric Sanchez over at Lightspeed and Fab got me some got something fixed for me on this. What else did we put together? We got a couple lines on, harness ran, starter on, let's see, a few things buttoned up. I have a new shift selector deal I'm going to put in the top of the trans, so we're going to leave this a little loose. I was looking at my back pressure canister, kind of where I want to mount it, but we're going to mess with that stuff probably in the next video. The one thing I did want to point out on this video, when we get underneath the car, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot putting the oil filter on the engine before we when we put the engine in. So as you can see, I did have to clearance the subframe right here and right here. Yeah, not sure if you guys can make that out or not, but did have to clearance the subframe a little bit to get the oil filter off. So with the Track Tough oil filter adapter, this guy shoved up in here. Sorry, lighting and all that. But this guy, we definitely have to clearance the subframe on the 5th gen Preludes with the 4-piston oil filter adapter. It is not necessary. I did not have to do that. It is a little bit wider, the Track Tough one, because it has the pressurized oil ports on it. That is the reason for the need to clearance. So just wanted to clarify that for anybody interested. Oh, so let's hop back up here. Other thing I got done since we've been away, I believe we got this weight canister all painted, and these shock mounts up here. We're waiting on some hardware to come in for those. Not sure when that's going to be here, but then we can finish tying the rest of the suspension together. We're pretty much just waiting to put the shocks in. I got the axles in, everything else in, so everything's looking good there. Everything's getting real close. Just got to finish up a couple of things hot side wise, which will segue us into the next video probably. But that's going to end it off here. This is the shirt that I was talking about in a previous video. If any of you guys are wondering, I know it's pretty basic, but we're still small. But yeah, if you're interested, reach out to me. We can maybe make something work. But thank you guys for watching so much. Give us a share, comment, a like. Like we said before, we're trying to grow the channel, and any little thing helps. So I'm gonna try to get this video out to you guys just so you can have something to watch, know what's going on in the background. I do have to still get my injectors put in. We got bigger injectors, bigger cams, all that. So I'm just gotta flow match those to make sure I'm pairing them correctly. Talk about that more in the future. But yeah, still have to get the fuel injectors in, the rail on, and then I don't have this bolted on. Then we'll prime the system, flush it out, and all that. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Can you say bye?